I was looking for a free digital signage option for our school. I'd come across a few options. This one wasn't free. It was a Chromebook with management software that our tech department could install. That'd be about $200 for each Chromebook. And I'm not sure of the cost of the management software, but we had 5 televisions, so we'd be looking at about $1,000. So then I looked for an alternative. And then I found an old Chromebook that had, keys missing, those kinds of things. Maybe the hinge is wrecked. And these are disposable items at our school, so we usually just take those and throw them in the garbage. I had a stack of them in my office, so I thought I could find a new use for them. It's larger than a Chromebit, however. It's quite large. Chromebit is like a USB stick. But a Chromebook can be hidden behind a large screen TV. So here's what I did. The first thing I had to do was create a new Gmail account, because the Gmail accounts from our school are managed. And so I created a new account, power washed the Chromebook, and then logged in with that account on the Chromebook. The next thing I had to do is publish a presentation. For this presentation, I'm going to show you. I have to go to Publish to the Web. I am going to auto advance every 10 seconds. That usually covered our announcements. Restart the slideshow after the last slide. Start slideshow as soon as the player loads. And I'm going to hit Publish on that. And then OK. And it gives me a link. So I'll copy that link, come over here, and I'm going to paste it. And as you can see, it loads it up. So as the presentation continues, it goes on to the next slide, and the next slide, and the next slide, and the next slide. And at the end, it restarts. So this presentation is something I would modify whenever I needed to change to my announcements. So I would take this, I'll bookmark it, so that I have quick and easy access to it. It'll be the only bookmark I'll have on this account. Of course, I'd like to make it full screen, so then I used F11 to make it full screen. The problem is, when I make a change to the presentation, it does not go through to the presentation automatically. You have to refresh to see the updates on those slides. That can be problematic, so I needed to download an extension called Auto Refresh, and I added that to Chrome. This allows you to choose a time that the presentation will be refreshed, or actually any page that you're on will be refreshed. For argument's sake, I'm going to use the same published presentation, and I'm going to change my time to 12 seconds. So the only problem with refresh, I find the bottom left-hand corner, this little thing shows up, but you could send it to 10 minutes, so that little thing only shows up every 10 minutes. The other problem I found is that if you go full screen, every time it refreshes, it pulls it out of full screen. So the refresh is good, but the loss of full screen is a problem. So I had to install another extension called Full Screen for Google Chrome. So I add that, add. When I use this extension, it doesn't allow you to use escape to get out of full screen mode. So let's get back to that big idea presentation. And it's refreshing every 12 seconds. I'll wait for this refresh to finish. There we go. Okay, click full screen. See, it doesn't say press escape to exit full screen. It says press F11. And now when the new refresh comes, it does do that little jump or hesitation. However, it still allows it to stay in full screen mode. So the presentation always stays full screen. As I said, the only other thing you need to do is make sure that when you make changes to the original presentation. One thing that I've often heard is you should always make sure you have at least one slide in that presentation. So I set it up, and I'm going to make it so that I only have 2 slides left. And now I go back to here. Now, when we have the refresh, it should only show those 2 slides over and over again. First slide, second slide, first slide, second slide. So the refresh rate right now is much higher than I would use in reality. If you're making changes only overnight, you could refresh it every hour or every 3 hours. As long as the refresh time will allow you to make those changes and show them up. I never go back to the Chromebook. So the reason why I created that new login and after the power wash, I couldn't set it so that the screen would stay on even when the computer was closed. It would go to sleep whenever I closed the lid, so the Chromebook was closed. So I had to create that and choose the setting. So this is one way to have really inexpensive digital signing options. I hope you found this really helpful.